I want to preface this video by saying that no one got hurt in the rollover and the Jeep was only lightly scuffed. In this latest edition of Bending Jeeps, we're cruising out to Glade Run Recreation Area, which also has the Brown Springs OHV area in it, and it's outside of Farmington, New Mexico. And Farmington, New Mexico is a big town. It's got everything you need: parts stores, accommodations, hospital, etc. I mean, this is literally on the edge of town. So your time to get on the trails is the amount of time it takes you to drive down this dirt road and get to the OHV parking area. It also is a Brown Springs campground with maybe a dozen spots in it. So you can literally camp right at the trails with no one around you. It's primitive, but that's okay, because our bus was set up for primitive camping. And I was lucky enough, I reached out to the local OHV club, Cliffhangers 4x4, and they agreed to take us around, guide us around. So they had a half dozen rigs show up, including this beautiful Commando with a CJ nose, one of a kind. He was just finishing some shakedown rides on it. These buggies came out, and I was concerned about the trails when I saw all the buggies, and I'm looking over at my Jeeps on their 33s. But there was truly, and one of the leaders of the group said, there's something for everyone here, and there absolutely was. And this is a different type of rock than you find out in Moab or Sand Hollow. Definitely way different than the East Coast. Lots of traction. Here's an obstacle. So my wheelbase didn't let me really do this obstacle right. You have to kind of nose up to this ledge and crawl over to the left. And once you get past the ledge, then you can go up. But as you're crawling to the left, the edge drops off behind you. And I gave it a shot with my Jeep with not as good results as that green buggy. I almost don't know how to describe this rock out here. It's kind of a really, really compact sandstone. It's, I don't know, gives you a lot of traction, but it also kind of crumbles, and you'll see the local buggies, their tires are kind of rounded off on the edges. It's just tough on tires. Here they're trying this waterfall, and this was an amazing, insane, steep climb, and you can actually hear the engine starving for oil just because of the altitude they're at. You kind of have to wiggle your front tires down the groove to set them in, so watching the locals spot each other and give each other the tips to make it possible, just awesome to see.
Coming up. There you go. As you're coming up, see that. Come on up.
If you think there's some sort of fancy camera work involved with making this look this steep, it's not. It is straight up, and you better have the wheelbase to get your front tires over that ledge. There was no way I was going to be able to try it.
No, back out. Back out. Come on, brother.
And that was one of the slowest rollovers I've seen. And it was a tricky recovery because he was in that little slot canyon. So we had 2 winches on the back and 1 on the front and just tipped him back over the other way. The only thing I would have done different on the recovery, if I get to do one next time, is I would have put some sort of strap on his front end so it didn't walk backwards on the front wheels as we were pulling it. But it all worked out pretty good, and he was able to drive it out. The next morning, Michelle and I took our Jeeps out and just went goofing around on the rocks near the campground, kind of exploring the area on our own. We took Annie with us. She got to ride in the Jeeps on the rocks. It's her first time rock crawling. And we could have stayed for days probably and goofed around and found all sorts of cool trails. As it was, Michelle's Jeep was exhibiting some transmission problems. And we decided, you know what? It's time to head back to camp and load up. And I tell you what, if you get a chance to go to Farmington to these trails, take it. Buggies will have a great time. Jeeps, probably with at least one locker, will have a great time. Plan on spending, I don't know, a weekend you won't see it all. And the time of year we went, April, end of April, the weather was perfect. And not a lot of damage, some scrapes on the bumper and skid plate. It was perfect. It was a great place. Now we're on our way to Colorado. And I want to give a big thanks to the Cliffhangers and Bob for organizing the ride so we could explore with the confidence of local knowledge. It was a great time hanging out with you guys. We've taken a position as camp hosts in Colorado for the season, so our next wheeling will be in beautiful Colorado.